Next up, we have Michael Morales versus Trevin Giles. Morales coming in as a negative 125 favorite versus Giles at plus 105. And I think this is going to be a fun fight. I'll go ahead and start with the breakdown on Morales. He's coming off of a Dana White Contender Series win by decision. It was a very fun fight to watch for sure. But the thing that stood out to me more than anything else is that this guy could not block a punch to save his life. He cannot dodge a punch, and he could not block a punch. He had his hands up the whole time. It was really weird. I would think just by chance, like one of these punches would, get blocked or hit a hand, but every punch seemed to land on this guy's face. So anytime he was on defense, it was absolutely horrible. But the great thing about this guy is he's pretty aggressive, and so whenever he went on offense, he let fly, and he has some pretty interesting or pretty good striking technique, and it was definitely an entertaining fight to watch for sure. So I'm looking forward to this one. My hope is that Morales has been in the gym and working with the striking coach on how to avoid getting hit, which Giles definitely does not have that same issue. Giles is able to block some punches, although he doesn't tend to block as much. He's much more about avoidance of punches, so he's able to slip punches. But that actually was his downfall in his last fight. Giles, even though he's able to evade lots of the strikes, the part where he got caught, it was kind of like with when Stipe fought Francis, and Stipe hit Francis, had him hurt a little bit, and then kind of went in for the kill, and that's when he got caught. It was the same thing with Giles in his last fight, where he went in, he hurt the guy, had him up against the cage, and he kind of went in, but then he started to jump back, realizing the guy was not as hurt as he thought he was. He took one step back, took 2 steps back, and that is how lots of guys end up getting caught, is just running straight back to when you're trying to avoid strikes. Listen to Teddy Atlas on this. He has a philosophy on strike evasion, and his rule of thumb is always 1 step back, 1 step to the side, either side, and you want some lateral movement to get away from a guy. You don't want to run straight back while he's running straight forward, because the guy running straight forward is going to have a big advantage. But Giles, he's definitely a good striker, and in his fights before that, he's definitely been in some wars. Can definitely take a punch, can definitely give a punch, but he's got decent defense, like I said, good evasion. And Giles has definitely got some striking power for sure. I remember the fight with him and Lawrence Krauss a while back. It was really incredible to watch. Even though Lawrence Krauss shouldn't have been in that fight because of the weight difference, it was still a really fun fight to watch. Giles, if Giles can initiate strikes, I think he's going to land and do big damage, and Giles can dodge and block, so he has a huge advantage over Morales. But I think this is going to be a fun fight. I'm expecting it's not going to go the distance, and I'm going to go with Giles to win.
Yeah, it's interesting watching these guys come up through other fight organizations. Morales has fought in a couple of Mexico cards, which kind of goes off of that what I was saying earlier. You're seeing these Mexican fighters come through, and I think they need to find a couple better training partners at times, because it definitely seems like he's the one in his gym who is good at whatever. Because you mentioned he doesn't have the best defense. He wins by KO, TKO consistently, and I think his opponent this fight is just more versed, has the composure. Like, I think you have to lose to get experience sometimes, I think, for the most time. And Morales having 12-0 and winning a certain way, I think Giles, however you say his name, just you can see it. You mentioned his last fight. He was winning. He was had a strategy. It's just he made a mistake, and it was a very clear mistake that his opponent capitalized on. But I think he's been in there. Fought UFC before, fought for decisions. I think he'll be able to kind of wait him out, and then do his work in round 2 or 3 for sure. So I agree with your pick.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you're saying about being potentially the best guy in the gym. Because I remember my first day training in an MMA gym where I worked with a striking coach, and I was coming in with a wrestling background, so had very poor striking skills. But the very first lesson that I got was put my hands up, and the striking coach just starts throwing punches at my head. And this is like, teach you, move your head, keep your guard up. I wasn't supposed to throw any strikes back, but the very first lesson is, how to avoid damage when striking. And yeah, I feel like that's a really big hole in Morales' game at this point. Hopefully he'll work with some coaches on that and improve that, because if he does, I think he has some really good potential. He's a really young guy, so he's got lots of time to learn. But you definitely don't want to learn the hard way by getting KO'd in a UFC fight. So we'll see how this one goes.